Welcome to Case Files, the podcast that digs into the stories behind the headlines. I'm Alex. With me is our lead storyteller, Ben.
Good to be here.
Ben, you've brought us a case from Giza, Egypt, that's both tragic and a powerful cautionary tale. It seems to revolve around a theme we've touched on before, the danger of misplaced trust.
Absolutely, Alex. This story is a perfect, if horrifying, example of why we say that. It begins with a young man walking into a police station in Osim late one night in October 2015, visibly shaken.
What had he seen?
He was on his way home from work when he noticed something odd inside a large sewage pipe in a construction area. It was a bulky, swollen blanket. When he got a closer look, he saw human legs sticking out.
A grim discovery. So the police are on the scene.
Right. They pull the blanket out of the pipe, and inside is the body of an older man. It's clear he's been dead for a while, at least 3 days. The body is bloated and the scene is brutal. He's been stabbed multiple times and strangled. It's a clear-cut murder, but there's a problem.
No identification?
Exactly. He's fully clothed, but there's nothing on him to say who he is. And because of the body's condition, none of the locals could recognize him. The police's first step was to check the missing person reports for the area.
And did they get a match?
They did. A woman named Amira, 35, had filed a report 2 days earlier. Her 55-year-old husband, a tuk-tuk driver named Nagi, was missing. The police called her in to identify the body.
That must have been a tough call to make and an even tougher one to receive.
It was. She went to the morgue and, in a state of shock, confirmed that the victim was indeed her husband, Nagi. She told the police his routine. He'd go out to work in his tuk-tuk after sunset and wouldn't return until just before dawn. On the night he disappeared, he just never came home.
What about his tuk-tuk? Was it stolen?
That's the puzzling part. Amira said she couldn't find it at first, but then she located it parked a little way down the street. The vehicle was there, but Nagi was gone. This detail immediately made the police suspicious.
Why that?
Because if it was a simple robbery, the thief would have taken the tuk-tuk. The fact that it was left behind suggested this wasn't about theft. It pointed towards a crime of revenge.
So the police start digging into Naji's life. What did they find? Was he involved in anything that would make someone want revenge?
Quite the opposite. Everyone they spoke to said Naji was a peaceful man with no enemies. His wife, Amira, also had a spotless reputation in the neighborhood. The investigation was hitting a brick wall. The area where the body was found had no CCTV cameras, leaving them with no technological leads.
They must have felt like they were at a dead end.
They were, until a stroke of luck. They started canvassing the neighborhood more widely, and they found a witness. A man who happened to be on his balcony having a cigarette just before dawn on the night of the murder.
And he saw something?
He saw a taxi with no license plates pull up. 3 men got out, carrying a heavy blanket, and shoved it into the sewage pipe. At the time, he just thought they were illegally dumping trash. He never imagined it was a body.
Did he recognize any of them?
No, but he remembered their faces. This was the breakthrough the police needed. They brought in a forensic artist.
The criminal sketch artist. It's a skill that seems almost old-fashioned now, but it can be incredibly effective.
In this case, it was the key to everything. The artist sat with the witness, who described the 3 men in detail. The artist produced 3 sketches. The police showed them to Amira, but she claimed she'd never seen any of them before.
But the police didn't stop there, I assume.
No, they showed the sketches to other people in the neighborhood, and that's when they got another hit. A neighbor immediately recognized one of the sketches. She said, "That's Naji's friend. He's a teacher who runs a tutoring center nearby. He comes to the house all the time to tutor their kids."
Wait, a close friend of the victim? And the wife didn't recognize the sketch?
That's a huge red flag.
A massive one. The police brought Amira in again. This time, they confronted her with what the neighbor said. Her story crumbled. She broke down and confessed everything. So, what was the real story behind this seemingly happy family?
It was a story of deep unhappiness and betrayal. Amira had married Naji when she was just 19. He was 20 years her senior. She felt she'd married beneath her. As the years went on and they had 3 children, Naji worked longer and longer driving his tuk-tuk to make ends meet, and Amira felt increasingly lonely and resentful.
And the friend, the teacher from the sketch?
His name was Hani. He was Naji's close friend. Naji had asked him to tutor the children at their home. Hani started coming over in the evenings, all when Naji was out working. He saw a beautiful, lonely woman and decided to make his move.
He betrayed his friend's trust.
In the worst way possible. He preyed on Amira's vulnerability, sympathizing with her, telling her she was carrying everything alone. Soon, they were confiding in each other about their unhappy marriages, which quickly led to a full-blown affair, happening right under Naji's roof.
This went on for how long?
For an entire year.
For an entire year? Amira became completely dependent on Hani, emotionally and even financially. She decided she wanted to get rid of Naji, but was afraid he'd take the children if she divorced him. So she came up with a different plan.
Murder? She proposed it to Hani. At first, he was shocked. He was willing to betray his friend, but not kill him. But Amira was manipulative. She threatened to end the affair, and Hani, completely infatuated, caved. He agreed to the plan.
And the other two men from the sketches?
They were two young men who worked for Hani at his tutoring center. He recruited them to help carry out the murder. On the night of the crime, Hani, along with his two accomplices and a relative driving the getaway taxi, ambushed Naji as he was returning home. They beat him, strangled him, and stabbed him inside the blanket before dumping his body.
And all this time, Amira was playing the part of the grieving widow.
Flawlessly. But the criminal sketch artist, combined with good old-fashioned police work, exposed the entire conspiracy. Hani and his accomplices were arrested, and all three were sentenced to death. When her sentence was read, Amira's only concern was whether her children would forgive her, claiming she was under pressure and truly loved Hani.
It's a tragic story that underscores a dark truth. People can hide their true selves behind carefully constructed facades. A friendly neighbor, a loyal friend, a devoted wife. Sometimes these are just masks.
And in this case, the mask of a loving wife hid the face of a cold, calculating killer. It's a stark reminder to be cautious about who you let into your life and your home. Trust is a precious thing, and when it's broken, the consequences can be devastating.
A powerful and sobering story. Thank you, Ben, for bringing the case of the criminal sketch to us.
You're welcome, Alex.
That's our show for today. Join us next time on Case Files as we continue to explore the intricate and often dark world of true crime. If our listeners were captivated by this story, please show your support. Like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into true crime, and share it with others. It truly helps us grow and bring more cases like this to light.
We appreciate it.
That's our show for today. We'll see you next time on Case Files.